Hi, welcome to VNBG. Today we are talking about how to open a restaurant in Vietnam. Let's dive in. First and foremost, to open a restaurant, you would need to have a company with the F&B business line in the license, such as VSIC 5610, CPC 642, and CPC 643. To understand the company incorporation process, check out our video about the 10 steps to getting a company opened and ready to run in Vietnam. And the good news is, foreigners can open and own 100% of a business in the food and beverage industry, such as a restaurant, bar, or cafe in Vietnam. But there are a few unique requirements that must be met for this type of organization to be set up and run well. So what are the conditions for opening a restaurant in Vietnam? Let's check it out. The registration process for opening a restaurant in Vietnam can be broken down into 3 steps, which are as follows. Select a proper location for the business. Obtain the F&B business line into the company license. Obtain proper sub-licenses or certificates for the restaurant to get it ready for operation. In fact, conditions 1 and 2 usually go hand in hand. Before giving the company a business code, the authority will check the location to make sure the restaurant is in the right place. Requirement number 3 will be done after the entity license or the business line is granted for the company, but before the restaurant is actually put into operation. Okay, let's VNBG show you the details right now. Select a location for a restaurant in Vietnam. From a regulatory standpoint, the restaurant's location must meet the 2 conditions listed below. It does not bring any security threat to the country, such as being too close to any military areas, diplomatic offices, government or state-owned buildings or national security forces, etc. If there will be alcohol selling on the premise, the restaurant must not be located within 100 diameter from a school, a hospital, or a kindergarten. This is the result of the fact that Vietnam has adopted the law on alcohol control to limit its negative impact on the community. Obtain F&B business line. After the location inspection is completed, if the location is approved by the inspector, the company will be granted the F&B business code, which will then be printed on the company's investment certificate. This means the company is allowed to provide the restaurant service. Get the sub-licenses for the restaurant for operation. After getting the F&B business line, the investor would need to get a few more licenses to be able to run the restaurant business fully. The following are the operational licenses. Food Hygiene Certificate, as known as the Certificate of Food Safety Condition, also known as COFSC. Fire Protection System registration, if any. Alcohol license, if will be retailing alcohol at the premise. Environmental Protection Plan registration, if the premise will emit waste or pollution. Although you can apply for these certificates on your own, you will save a great deal of time and money if you involve a professional in these stages. And how about the costs? We are going to show you a few main cost centers for the restaurant business in Vietnam. Setup cost. The first thing is the setup cost. This includes the cost of setting up the business, the cost of getting the sub-licenses needed to get the place ready to run, and the business's initial capital. The entity setup and licensing cost would vary from company in company, but it would account for a minor part of your entire business budget. Next, the capital. The capital is not yet the cost, but rather the fund for the business. This capital will be declared at the registration step, and then actually injected into the company upon the completion of the company registration, within 90 days from the license issuance date. In Vietnam, you need about the same amount of money to register a restaurant as you do to start a consulting, or trading business. The law doesn't say how much money must be put into a restaurant before it can open. You can start with the capital amount that you think is sufficient. Our recommendation is, it should not be too low. Small capital would make the authority question whether or not the business plan could work. Of course, the higher the better. Besides the capital, what you need to think about is the cost to start and run your business, such as location rental. The rent accounts for the majority of your business's expenses, especially in large cities such as Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, where rents in ideal locations can cost thousands of dollars each month. In rural or non-urban areas, rent can be much less expensive, and a smaller security deposit may be required. Design and decoration costs. Visual effects are essential to running a successful restaurant in Vietnam. Get a good interior designer or an agency to help you win the hearts of your customers at first sight. For your information, interior decor expenses in a big city like Ho Chi Minh City can be estimated at $250 USD 350 per square meter for a turnkey project. Labor costs. Recruitment or employment would be the subsequent expense you would need to account for. Even though the average salary in Vietnam is low, the country's labor law regulates the hiring process in a way that protects employees very well. So, this will be one of the biggest challenges for companies that want to hire people there. But VNBG can help you solve all of your problems. Just ask one of our consultants. Equipment cost. Equipment in buildings cost different amounts depending on their type, where they came from, their size, their brand, and so on. If you look into domestic brands or traditional materials, you can find inexpensive cooking utensils and tableware. There are markets or wholesale centers with affordable prices for the equipment and tools just a few clicks away. Owning a successful restaurant in Vietnam requires a lot of effort and planning ahead of time. Vietnam Business Gateway is here to help ambitious business owners and entrepreneurs by giving them useful information about how to do business in Vietnam. If you want to own a restaurant in Vietnam, contact our consultant today to schedule a free consultation. Or find more details in the description box below and can click subscribe for future updates from Vietnam Business Gateway.